Hey guys, this is Dr. Hub. In case you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe for updates. Opioid effects. This is on various receptors. So first, let's look at mu. So in terms of mu receptor, the UPHAR name is the MOP, and the analgesia, it provides the supraspinal or the spinal. Next, the cardiovascular, it causes the bradycardia. Now, talking about respiratory, it results in the depression. Next is the CNS. So what happens to the CNS? So in terms of CNS, it forms the euphoria. So there is euphoria, there is presence of sedation, there is presence of prolactin release. Next is there is mild hypothermia. There is cataplexy, as well as catalepsy. There is indifference to the environmental stimulus. So it is indifferent to the environmental stimulus. Next, we look at the pupil. So what happens to pupil? So pupil will cause meiosis. And then you have gastrointestinal. So GI is nothing but gastrointestinal. It causes inhibition of peristalsis. So as inhibition of peristalsis, there is nausea as well as vomiting. Next, we move on to the GU, that is the genitourinary. Genitourinary, it will relate to the urinary retention. This is in terms of mu receptor. So there's inhibition of GI, there's inhibition of peristalsis, vomiting, and nausea. And here in genitourinary, there is urinary retention. Next, when you look at pruritus, is there pruritus? The answer is yes, it is associated with pruritus. Now, physical dependence, the answer is yes, it has physical dependence. Next, we move on to the kappa receptor. So kappa receptor, the UPHAR name is KOP. And looking at analgesia, so what is the analgesia? So analgesia, it is supraspinal as well as spinal. So it's similar, supraspinal as well as spinal. And when you look at CNS, significant finding is in CNS, there will be sedation. So kappa will produce sedation. There is dysphoria, sedation, there is dysphoria, there is psychomimetic reactions. So there is sedation, there is dysphoria, there is psychomimetic reaction. So this will include the hallucination as well as the delirium. Next, what about pupil? Pupil in terms of kappa will be meiosis. So this is very similar to that of the mu receptor. So there is meiosis. Next significant finding, let's look at the genitourinary. So genitourinary, there is presence of diuresis. So diuresis, there is inhibition of the vasopressin release. So there is inhibition of vasopressin. Release. Next is, let's look at the physical dependence. So in physical dependence, there is low abuse potential. There is decreased abuse potential. So what about anti-shivering? Anti-shivering is present here. So answer is yes. Lastly, we move on to the receptor delta. So receptor delta. So this is the UPHAR name, it is DOP, and the analgesia, it provides a supraspinal or the spinal. So it modulates the mu receptor activity. So it modulates the mu receptor activity. Now let's jump on to the genitourinary. In genitourinary, it provides similar effects to the mu, that is, there is urinary retention. And what about pruritus? So in pruritus, the answer is yes, it provides pruritus. Next, when you look at the physical independence, physical dependence. Physical dependence is, the answer is yes, it can provide physical dependence. To learn and grow daily like this, please do subscribe.